It's the first time we're getting out of stealth, and it's the first time I'm presenting the company to a large forum. Until now, we were completely hidden from press, hidden from everyone who tried to look what it is Comilion. So my name is Kobi Freedman, and I'm the CEO and founder of Comilion. We're an Israeli cyber defense company. We are setting our headquarters in New York during those days. And even though we are keeping in stealth in the last year from incorporation, we are closely working with the largest corporations globally to design and develop our solution. So what is collaborative security? Mike mentioned an hour ago that bad guys are collaborating, are sharing information, and it's enormously true. We're coming from the space. All of my R&D team are coming from military-oriented cybersecurity or hacking, and we want to contribute a bit of the practices bad guys are using and take that to the good guys world. Actually, my presentation, I called it the Good Guys Alliance because we see it as a new era in security. So last week, there was a cybersecurity summit of the White House where President Obama signed an executive order forming a new agency which will deal with information sharing within the government. So there is another agency who will not succeed in doing so. But the importance is that the issue of information sharing is highly on the agenda. People understand that the way they protect their enterprises needed to be changed. Okay, just investing in defense is not sufficient enough. But I think during this summit, the more important quote was of the CEO of American Express, who said that information sharing may be the single highest impact, lowest cost, and fastest way to implement capabilities in order to gain better defense. And he mentioned few elements which people are avoiding to address. The most important one is about implementing capabilities. What is the difference between information sharing and implementing capabilities? So Comilion is a company which was formed in order to develop technology which will enable the world, enable good guys and enterprises, mainly in regulated markets, in highly competitive markets, to effectively collaborate between themselves in order to create like a new ecosystem of mutual defense. If we take a look on why people don't share in scale today, there are a lot of reasons, but basically you can accumulate the reasons into three families of challenges. The first one is about trust. People having hard time to trust each other. Enterprises having hard time to trust each other. We see that in the paper. We fear that our breach will end up in the paper. So they don't tend to share sensitive information. The second family of challenges is around effectiveness. There is an overwhelming amount of data which is poured on the poor CISOs and SOC managers and security guys, and every day they struggle to find what is the real indicator to look for and what is not, and there is a real challenge in finding the needle in the haystack. And the third one is, even if we want to share, we're having hard time to share because of regulation and compliance obstacles. So the situation nowadays is if companies and individuals want to share in a formal way, they might need to have like a GC, a legal person in the process, and legal persons, and I'm a legal person in my past, tend not to approve sharing. So those are the kind of challenges we are facing. And what's happening there? So we are developing what we call collaborative security framework, which can be defined by 6 elements, which we believe are solving this set of challenges. The first one is about our architecture. We are creating a fully decentralized peer-to-peer network technology aimed to enable enterprises to take our technology and create exclusive sharing network which Comilion is not exposed to the data running within it, meaning that a person can take our appliance and invite his peers and create like exclusive sharing networks which they can share the most sensitive information without anyone be exposed to that, in contrary to the centralized intelligence or sharing services there are today, which are based on data commercialization models. The second one is about data ownership. We developed the whole architecture in a way where people can share information and keep being the owners of the data, meaning that I can share with you guys information and revoke the data from the network if I find it to be a mistake or infringing my trust, or I can expose data for a certain time frame and revoke it automatically afterwards. All kinds of mechanisms which are enabling people to share information compared to what it is today, that if I send information, it's not longer being under my control and I cannot know what's happening with it. Third thing is about automation. We align with a lot of intelligence provider on the one hand and a lot of infrastructure technologies on the other hand, SIM systems. We are partnering with Splunk, with Hadoop, with ArcSight, HP, with Checkpoint, with Palo Alto, etc., in a way that pinpoints the information straight to the hit people have within their premises. Fourth element is about sharing capabilities. I will demonstrate it in a minute, but sharing capabilities is far beyond sharing intelligence. It's not like sharing IPs and DNS, etc. It's like really collaborating and aligning capabilities of people. The fifth element is about regulation and policy and privacy by design, meaning that the task is to enable 10 enterprises, part of them sitting in the US, part of them sitting in the UK, for example, to be able to share massive amounts of data, and the system will automatically will share or deny sharing in accordance to a long set of regulation and policy and self-compliance rules which the enterprises embrace. I don't know if you know, but for a certain IP you want to share, might be about 6 or 7 kinds of regulations relying on the data. In different countries, the result of whether to share or not might be different. So this is a process which solves it automatically. Last but not least, we are bringing sharing in security to the mobility area, and we are enabling inter and intra company sharing scenarios to be available also on mobile. So I will go briefly about our architecture. Basically, it's an on-premises, it could be hosted, but it's a decentralized network, meaning that every sharing partner in the network owns his own node. Everyone has his own instance. Every instance accumulates data in a contained and secured way, in what we call discussions, and every discussion accumulates what we call data element. Every data element, it could be intelligence, it could be IP, it could be the post, it could be your identity for anonymization reasons. Every data element gets its own DRM mechanisms. So basically, the system can handle every data element in different way. So the sharing process starts, and according to the colors, let's imagine that the colors represent different sharing rules. The system automatically, in very large scale and in very high capacity, can manage the scrapping out or denying the sending of data elements and discussions among a very large network. And the purpose is to be able to create intercompany networks in a way that 10 banks can work together on an event. Let's assume the Russians attack Chase. At the same time, they might attack few other banks. There is a necessity to share information which is concrete in rapid manner. So what we do in that sense, that we hook our nodes, because they're on-prem, to the SIM systems and the gateways. So you're able to share not only indicators, but you're able to share also queries, patterns, and heuristics in a way that it is executed on top of those infrastructures in an automatic way. And in that sense, what we see is that we want to create like an ecosystem where no matter what your IT decided to buy, you will still have the ability to collaborate with your peer across the street in another bank, even though he's relying on different infrastructure. And nowadays, you don't have the effective way to share the event between yourselves. So, few screenshots. It's a very complex technology which we wrap in a very simple and user-friendly UI. So you have different groups you are able to create or be aligned to. Every group contains its own members, and every group can have its own sharing policies and vetting processes. You have your feed of discussions. Every discussion can be graded, can be voted, etc. You can invite new peers to the network by yourself. It doesn't depend on Comilion capabilities to bring people on board. Every discussion, which I presented earlier with the data elements, so you have the unstructured area where people can talk. Imagine the situation where there are two people like discussing while being behind a firewall. They are in two different nodes and still have the unified experience. The system automatically scrapped out of their unstructured process what is an indicator and what's not, and accumulates that in their own exclusive like feed, which is executed in front of their infrastructure. They can share queries in different appliances, and they can grade that in a like a Stack Overflow, like if you're familiar with. And last but not least, we are enforcing TLP. If you're familiar with the concept, TLP, Traffic Light Protocol of the DHS, the whole mechanism of sharing for your eyes only, for your peers within your enterprise, etc., etc. We are enforcing that, so data cannot be leaked outside of the network. The system always, in the background, creates correlation processes. So if you have, it's hard to see, if you have a hit within your premise, it's been like highlighted to you. And if you hover over it, there are processes which enrich the context in a way you, as a researcher or a SOC guy, can see a broader view of what's happening around this indicator. And if you press this more button, It brings you to a very exciting area we are creating, and we are inviting everyone here to enrich it afterwards. We are creating a very broad API to the system and a mechanism to extend the analysis of the intelligence by widgeting, like everyone who created capabilities, like a software, service, etc., can hook into the network and enrich the data. So eventually, a researcher or a SOC guy can have like a much broader intelligence picture of what is happening around a certain indicator. And last but not least, around mobility, we have an app which enables, like in the web system, the on-premise system, to be one leg on-prem and one leg on your mobile. It's reflecting every discussion you have, as well as the ability to have secure chats in group or one-on-one. While if you are in a one-on-one discussion, you can like declare the TLP, and the system will enforce what will happen around this discussion in accordance to the TLP. It will have the ability to, like if I'm seeing that this IP, I can press this button and a query will be executed in my ArcSight or in my Splunk on-prem, so I can see while being on the road in another side of the globe whether there is a hit in on my premises or not, and also have the ability to, if I'm TLP red, to like erase the sensitive data out of the all mobile devices who are sharing this kind of discussion. In this way, we are like creating the building blocks to a new ecosystem where companies can take those building blocks and create their own set of rules of how to decide and whom to trust, etc. So to end that, what we envision is that we want to change the way people do security from a paradigm where those security guys are standing each one for himself nowadays to a situation they will be together. Together. Okay? So, and putting jokes aside, we see that as a new era of power shift from an era where I was a security and an IT manager back then. IT managers are highly dependent on their security vendors. This is the way the cyber or the security market was looking like. If you decided that your strategy is Symantec, then you're dependent on Symantec. We want to transfer power from being dependent on vendors to being dependent on your peers. We believe that if you are a bank, there are few more banks who are suffering like you are. The challenge is to create the way that you as banks could work together, and then the vendors will join as well. So in those days, we are getting out of stealth. We launch our website, we are launching our blog, we are expanding our beta program. So each one is invited in the coming days to surf into our new website and apply to our beta program and join the platform. I'm just saying that in terms of our approach, you need to apply with a friend. If you don't have a friend, then you have a problem. Okay? In Comilion, you come in pairs at least. So thank you very much.